Imagine waking up and immediately having a cold blade pressed against your neck. Our poor heroine has no idea how she got here, but this icy hottie is definitely not a fan. She tries to play it cool, but the panic is real as he moves that dagger way too close for comfort. In a total klutz move, she ends up face-planting right into the dirt. She's convinced this is the end of her short, chaotic second life. But this savage man isn't a human. He's a fox demon with some serious trust issues. He thinks our little nugget is just a boring weakling with zero powers. Little does he know, he's carrying some heavy trauma from his own past. Years ago, he was a prince on the run from a literal bloodbath. Hunters were desperate to capture him for his rare and powerful soul. Just when things looked hopeless, a villain appeared to finish the job. His mother fought like a queen to protect her son, Aiden. But even her strength wasn't enough to stop the blade. With her final breath, she begged him to run and survive at all costs. The memory of that blood-soaked day still haunts his every waking moment. Now Aiden is back, and he's definitely not the sweet kid he used to be. Waking up in the cold, he realizes he's not alone in this dark cave. Somehow, the little bunny girl he tried to slice is still breathing. In her sleep, she's actually snuggling his massive, fluffy tail. He calls her a mere baby rabbit, but he's clearly confused by her audacity. She's wiggling around like he's a giant plushie, totally oblivious to the danger. He admits she's pretty, but in this world, being cute won't save your life. He raises his blade to finish the job, but then he notices something impossible. Despite the cut from earlier, her skin is perfectly smooth without a single scar. She's even yelling at him to leave her alone in her sleep. He decides to test his theory and gives her a little poke with the dagger. Wait, did she just heal instantly? This shouldn't be possible. The dagger is coated in deadly poison, yet this rabbit demon is totally fine. He tries again, but her body just rejects every single wound he makes. When morning finally comes, our girl wakes up feeling refreshed and fabulous. She thinks she's found the world's softest, most expensive rug. Poor Aiden spent the whole night failing to kill her because she wouldn't let go of his tail. He's cranky, exhausted, and demands that she get up this instant. She mumbles in her sleep, calling the powerful fox demon a little doggy. She finally opens those big, beautiful eyes and sees a very angry man. Instead of being scared, she snaps at him for ruining her beauty sleep. She actually reaches out and pinches his ears like he's a common pet. He's absolutely stunned by her savage behavior and lack of respect. It finally clicks for her that she's been reincarnated as a demon. But then she takes a good, long look at her captor. Holy moly, this man is a literal walking thirst trap. Our girl is officially swooning over her would-be executioner. She tries to apologize for the doggy comment, realizing he's way more dangerous. He leans in close to remind her that he is a fox, not a pet. That's when she notices the dagger and the memories start flooding back. Wait a second, this is the psycho who tried to end her last night. She realizes she definitely died, so how is she standing here right now? She asks the big question, but Aiden isn't in the mood for an interview. He gives her a chilling smirk that says he's about to lose his patience. In a flash, the blade is back at her throat for round 2. Our girl finally realizes the truth. She's basically immortal because her wounds heal instantly. With this new cheat code, she's ready to conquer the world without a single worry. But then reality hits. What if she gets snatched up by scientists for research like in a horror movie? Better stick to the big boss for now, even if he's currently walking away like it's none of his business. She scrambles after him, calling out to her little fox to wait up. He turns around with a look that could melt butter, making our heroine internally scream at how cute he is. She wonders what to call him if little fox is off the table. He looks totally unimpressed as she asks if he's secretly hundreds of years old. When she reveals she's only 20, he drops the bomb that he's actually 3 centuries older than her. Great, so he's not just a fox, he's a vintage ancient fox. As night falls over the frozen woods, the atmosphere gets thick and heavy. They trek through the deep snow, but our girl is struggling to keep up. Even the way he moves is elegant and effortless. He looks back, judging her for being so incredibly weak. She tries to defend herself, saying she hasn't even started her cultivation journey yet. But then he reveals the ultimate flex. He isn't even using his spiritual power to walk on the snow. Now she's officially motivated to start training the second they leave this icy wasteland. Suddenly, she realizes she's all alone in the dark. She spots 2 mysterious figures in the distance. Panicking, she squats down, wondering if they're enemies or just lost. Since there's zero cover, she decides to do the most rabbit thing possible and digs a hole to hide in. An hour later, she's fully submerged with only her ears poking out. The 2 men are frantically searching for a blood lotus that's gone missing. They're terrified of their master's orders and won't stop until they find it. But before they can move another inch, one of them senses a terrifying presence. In a flash, the fox spirit appears, effortlessly taking one down while holding the other by the throat. He demands to know where the blood lotus is, while our girl watches the chaos from her snowy bunker. The poor guy gasps out that it disappeared last night and realizes he's staring into the eyes of the demon king himself. Without a hint of mercy, the fox drops the useless man into the snow. He calls them worthless and walks away without a second glance. A puff of snow marks his departure, leaving our girl traumatized in her hole. She starts crying, feeling completely abandoned in this terrifying world. Suddenly, a hand reaches down and grabs her right by the ears. She's totally caught off guard as she's hoisted into the air. He's holding her up like a misbehaving pet, looking completely unbothered. He asks if she was playing hide and seek, looking way too handsome for someone who just strangled a guy. She immediately clings to him, sobbing about how he finally came back for her. He tells her to let go and asks if she's just too cold to find her own den. Shivering like a leaf, she admits she got totally lost. He sighs at how silly she is, then tells her to keep up as he walks away. She follows him closely, not wanting to be left behind again. They find shelter as the snow continues to fall. Inside the cave, she immediately makes herself at home by hugging his giant, fluffy tail for warmth. She complains that this place is a death trap for bunnies. He asks if her family abandoned her because she's too dumb to survive. That hits a nerve, and she snaps back that his clan must have been the ones to dump him. She claims she was born right here, and he curiously asks if her parents are nearby. Our girl starts spinning a wild tale about being born from the essence of heaven and earth. She's really selling the drama, claiming the sky is her mother and the earth is her father. He just stares at her with a "are you for real?" expression. She eventually admits she was just kidding and has no idea where she came from. She explains that she was so hungry she had to eat a random flower she found in the ice. It only had one seed, so she ate the whole thing. The fox spirit freezes, asking her to repeat exactly what she ate. She gets nervous, wondering if she overate. He realizes that this dumb bunny is the one who ate his priceless blood lotus. He leans in with a dangerous, seductive smile that has our girl swooning. She starts twitching, completely overwhelmed by his fox spirit charm. She can't help but reach out and grab his tail again. He pulls her into his arms, and she panics about proper boundaries between men and women. He leans in close and asks if she thinks he's pretty. The tension is through the roof as he smirks at her. His gaze is absolutely piercing, and our heroine is struggling to keep her cool. She's blushing so hard she might actually explode. She pushes him away, admitting that yes, he is pretty, but she knew he was a fox spirit the whole time. She stands her ground, trying to act tough. He's actually impressed that she's immune to his high-level charm magic. He asks again if the flower she ate was red. She remembers it tasting pretty good, kind of like a crunchy apple. He realizes that thanks to her eating that lotus, he was able to break his seal last night. By total coincidence, this dumb bunny turned out to be his accidental benefactor. He decides he might just have to repay this favor. He asks if she wants to return to her rabbit clan. She panics, knowing she's a transmigrator and would get caught immediately. She firmly says no and tells him her name is Ruan Ruan, not Dumb Bunny. He settles on calling her Soft Bunny instead, which she decides is a slight upgrade. She looks at him, mesmerized by his presence. Finally, she asks for his name, and he gives her a killer smile. His name is Kai Yang, and our girl is officially in deep trouble. Our girl realizes she's currently cuddling the tail of the legendary Kai Yang. He's shocked because after 300 years as the infamous Devil King, he expected this little bunny to be shaking in her boots. But as the snow falls over the silent forest, our heroine is actually swooning over how cool his name sounds and asks what his next move is. Kai Yang is totally thrown off by her chaotic energy. She suggests that since they've established a revolutionary friendship, he should just take her along on his world tour. She's completely fearless, and honestly, her sheer audacity has him laughing. He can't believe this silly rabbit isn't terrified of the most feared man in the land. Suddenly, the vibe shifts, and our poor girl wonders if she just stepped on a major landmine. He uses his power to hoist her into the air like a prize. He calls her out, demanding to know if her clan ever warned her to flee from a man like him. She admits she's never even been back to the rabbit clan, so she's flying blind here. Plus, she thinks he's actually a pretty decent guy, so why run? That innocent honesty catches him off guard, and a genuine smile creeps onto his face. He realizes she's just a clueless little bunny who knows absolutely nothing about the real world. This piques his interest, and he decides keeping her around might actually be fun. He declares that from this moment on, she's officially his shadow. He warns her to stop the tricks, and she's more than happy to agree if it means staying safe. As night falls over the campsite, our girl is fast asleep, using his fluffy tail as the ultimate luxury pillow. But while she dreams, Kai Yang is struggling with a dark, suffocating energy. He's haunted by the memory of his stubborn father and a dark past where a high price was paid for foolishness. His eyes snap open, glowing a savage red as a curse takes hold. The commotion wakes our heroine up from her peaceful slumber. She looks over, confused by the strange aura radiating from the fox. Her heart drops when she sees the terrifying black mist swirling around him. Kai Yang stands tall, looking like a literal demon possessed by bloodlust. He's completely lost to his instincts, and he's looking at her like she's a snack. Panicking, our girl tries to claim she hasn't showered in 4 days and smells terrible to ward him off. It doesn't work, and he hungrily licks the side of her neck. She screams in terror as he pins her down. Without a second thought, he sinks his fangs deep into her skin. She sobs in agony as the pain of the bite overwhelms her small frame. As he drains her, she realizes this fox is actually a vampire and she promptly passes out. Our girl wakes up feeling groggy and completely dazed. She checks her neck for marks, but finds nothing, making her wonder if she hallucinated the whole nightmare. Regardless, she decides she isn't sticking around to be a portable blood bank and starts booking it. She doesn't get far before a familiar voice stops her in her tracks. Kai Yong is right there, staring her down with that same intense, predatory gaze. A beautiful day in the bustling town sets the stage for a new adventure. A mysterious silver-haired fox is strolling through the crowd, with our poor heroine perched right on his shoulder in her fluffy bunny form. Every step he takes radiates elegance, drawing eyes from everyone nearby. He can't help but tease her, giving her a little poke that sends her heart racing. With a burst of magical sparkles, she transforms back into her human self, and he officially decides to call her Yang Kai. They make quite the pair walking through the streets, though she's still getting used to navigating without her tail. But he's not satisfied with her look just yet and tells her it's time for a quick wardrobe change. Just 15 minutes later, the transformation is complete. Our girl is now rocking a masculine look, admitting that cross-dressing is way more convenient for their little outing. They soon arrive at a chaotic scene filled with shouting and excitement. It's the recruitment day for the prestigious Nandu Academy, and everyone is desperate for a shot at glory. Our cool and collected fox stands in the middle of the chaos, looking completely unfazed by the competition. Our heroine is confused, wondering why some lines are miles long while others are practically empty. He patiently explains that the academy splits students into different subjects, which explains the wait times. They're currently waiting for the high-stakes spiritual power faction, but she notices a desk with absolutely zero queue. Turns out that's the spirit healing faction, a path clearly less popular with the power-hungry crowd. The fox gives a knowing smirk, making our girl wonder what's actually going on in that head of his. She realizes he's acting like a completely different person today, just as his name is called for testing. The bored-looking examiner tells him to simply place his hand on the testing stone. As soon as his fingers touch the surface, the stone begins to hum with an intense, divine energy. He doesn't just pass, he releases a flood of power that leaves the surrounding air trembling. Suddenly, a brilliant multicolored light erupts, something the onlookers have never seen before. The examiner's jaw hits the floor as she screams about the legendary multicolored spiritual power. She jumps up in total shock, declaring our fox an absolute genius on the spot. Our poor heroine is currently stuck in her bunny form, looking absolutely miserable while being held like a common pet. The silver-haired fox looks at her with those cold, piercing eyes, and she can only stare back, wondering why her life has become this chaotic. Without a single care, he literally tosses her aside like yesterday's trash, claiming she's better off without him. Our girl takes a literal tumble, landing right on her fluffy tail. She sits there crying tiny rabbit tears, feeling completely betrayed by that fox. Some random guy tries to play hero and offer her a hand, but she's not having any of it and slaps him away with savage bunny energy. She makes a break for it, cursing out that stinky fox for being such a jerk. A flash of light marks her escape from the courtyard. Suddenly, we're on a massive flying ship soaring through the clouds. The students on board are getting nervous, wondering when this mysterious assessment is actually going to start. Our girl, now back in her human form, starts sniffing the air suspiciously. Something smells totally pungent, and she points it out to her favorite fox companion. He's actually impressed that her sense of danger isn't half bad. He gives her a look that would make trains fly by. He asks if she's still feeling sleepy after that cheeky wake-up call. Our girl realizes that every move they make is probably being judged by the academy. But the fox has a trick up his sleeve. He's already set up a barrier so no one can see them. Since they are invisible to the examiners, she figures there's no harm in catching some Z's. She immediately leans over and smashes her head onto his shoulder. He calls her a silly rabbit, but he can't hide that soft, protective look in his eyes. She's out cold, looking adorable as she snuggles against him. He holds her close, letting the ship carry them toward their destiny while the cranes lead the way. Bai Zi tells our girl he has business to attend to and she needs to stay put. But our heroine isn't having it, clinging to him and begging him not to leave her alone in this scary place. She goes full drama queen, claiming she's just a powerless nobody who's doomed to kick the bucket without him. The fox spirit just gives her a gentle head pat, telling her to pipe down and listen. She pouts, asking exactly when he plans on coming back for her. She looks absolutely miserable as he prepares to depart. And just like that, the stupid fox vanishes into thin air, leaving her all by herself. Our girl tries to keep it together, but she's clearly not thrilled about her solo mission. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the entire area. People are screaming and losing their minds because the ship is literally about to blow up. Our heroine realizes the situation is going south fast, and she's right in the blast zone. She hears the ominous cracking of the structure around her. Panic sets in because being immortal doesn't mean she wants to feel the pain of a 1,000-foot drop. She takes a leap of faith, bracing for a world of hurt. Out of nowhere, this mysterious guy appears looking totally bewildered. He lunges for her just as the ground erupts in a massive fireball. They hit the dirt hard as the smoke clears. Our girl is coughing up a lung from all the dust and debris. The guy starts playing the hero, telling her he's summoned a beast to help her escape while he holds the line. She puts on her best damsel in distress face, claiming she's far too injured to move. She fakes a sprained ankle, making him feel like absolute trash for putting her in danger. He tries to sacrifice himself like a true martyr, telling her to run for her life. But our girl has zero patience for this cliché nonsense and calls him out for the cringy brotherly love act. She demands he stop dilly-dallying and actually get that spirit beast over here right now. Honestly, the audacity of some people to start a drama scene in the middle of a literal explosion is just too much. Feng Rui comes charging in on a spirit beast like he's the main character of a different series. But Kai Yang is not feeling the competition and asks our girl if she's actually considering following that guy. Before she can even process the jealousy, he raises a hand. And poof, he turns her into a tiny, adorable bunny before suddenly coughing up blood. Our poor heroine is panicking, but he just brushes it off with a cold, "I'm fine." Turns out his spiritual energy is totally drained and his demonic side is acting up. He forces himself to stand, insisting they keep moving. Meanwhile, the first round of the exam finally wraps up. The elders announce that the next stage is a 5-day survival trip through the demon beast forest. The other students are shaking in their boots because that place is basically a buffet for man-eating monsters. But despite the danger, they are determined to push through. To make things even more chaotic, the academy is offering extra credit for anyone who finds star fragment grass. Back in the woods, our girl is worried sick because Kai Yang looks like he's about to keel over. He's literally coughing up blood, but his ego is way too big to ask for help. He tries to wipe the evidence away, acting like a total martyr. That's when our heroine decides enough is enough and starts aggressively unrobing him to check for wounds. He grabs her wrists, completely shocked by her boldness. She reminds him that she was a medical student in her past life, and she's not taking no for an answer. He skeptically asks if a former student can really handle internal demonic injuries. He finally tells her to stop fussing and sits down to try and stabilize his chaotic energy. Our girl realizes she's totally toast without his protection, so she settles in to keep watch while he heals. Our girl is clinging to her favorite fox like her life depends on it, but he's playing hard to get and tells her to back off. Does she listen? Of course not, she's just way too adorable for her own good. She even promises to become a powerful cultivator just so she can protect him one day. He lets her brag for a bit, clearly enjoying the attention more than he'd ever admit. But their cozy moment is ruined when a literal stink bomb hits the air. Our heroine's nose is practically curling from the sheer toxicity of the scent. It turns out the source is a massive demon wolf who looks like he's having the worst day of his life. The poor beast is doubled over in pain while our duo watches in total confusion. He's huffing and puffing, clearly dealing with some serious internal issues. Our savage girl doesn't hold back, asking if the big bad wolf is currently suffering from a case of the runs. Despite his terrifying glare, she flashes a sweet smile and offers to help him out. She steps forward with a cup, looking completely fearless in front of the beast. The wolf leans in, catching a scent that is surprisingly the bombshell. It's her own blood. She claims her blood is a miracle cure for her. Girl realizes the bond is finally set, and Kai Young confirms she's officially the boss of this tiny terror. He explains they can now communicate through their minds, meaning no more secrets between master and servant. A savage smirk crosses her face as she decides to tease the demon wolf for chickening out when it counts. She hoists him up like a trophy, but the little guy is still talking big game, calling her a mere powerless bunny. He actually threatens to take them both out in a double suicide if she doesn't show some respect. Our poor heroine is absolutely shook by his chaotic energy and immediately lets go. He struts away on the grass, demanding to be pampered like the royalty he thinks he is. The little fluff ball is still plotting his revenge, but our girl isn't about to let a puppy run the show. She reminds herself that while she might look like a pushover, she's got the ultimate big leg to lean on. She locks eyes with Kai Yang and prepares to launch a masterclass in dramatic manipulation. In a flash, she throws herself into his arms, sobbing like her heart is breaking. The wolf is completely blindsided by this sudden Oscar-worthy performance. She cries out that the wolf is demanding a bowl of blood every day and threatening her life. While she squeezes out fake tears, the wolf can't believe anyone would fall for such blatant lies. But Kai Yang isn't laughing, and his expression turns deathly cold at the mention of the wolf's threats. The wolf starts sweating bullets, desperately trying to expose her fake acting before it's too late. She doubles down, claiming the wolf wants to hang her up and skin her alive. Kai Yang summons his terrifying blue flames, and the wolf realizes he's 1 second away from becoming a toasted marshmallow. He asks if she's telling the truth, and she plays the victim card perfectly to keep the pressure on. She demands the wolf swear a soul-binding oath to be struck by lightning if he ever lies. Trapped and terrified, the wolf swears the oath just to survive the fox's wrath. With the drama settled for now, they head out into the beautiful open fields to continue their quest. Our girl hits the jackpot, finding the star fragment herb they've been searching for. Kai Yang is impressed they found the exact herb the old man with the white beard requested. He decides they need to gather a stash before he begins her official cultivation training. She happily skips through the grass, living her best life as a gatherer. As night falls, they find a secluded cave to set up camp and rest. By the glow of the fire, Kai Yang prepares to guide her through her very first spiritual steps. He gently takes her hand to check her internal energy flow and meridians. She nervously asks how she's doing and if she even has the talent to cultivate. Kai Yang is stunned to find she has a rare physique suitable for both spirit and demon paths. He asks her to choose her destiny, explaining the choice between nurturing the spirit or the demon. The wolf can't believe his eyes. Our girl is a literal once-in-a-lifetime genius who can see all 5 spiritual elements. But being a genius is exhausting, and our poor heroine is already feeling the pressure. The fox prince asks which element she can actually absorb, but she's just as clueless as we are. She decides to follow her heart and her aesthetic, picking the pretty blue orb because it's just too cute to resist. As soon as she reaches out, the energy reacts instantly, swirling around her like she's the main character she is. It's official, she's a water element girly now, and the power is literally flowing through her. She's thrilled that the blue elements just chose her on their own. But the fox prince looks like he was expecting a bit more than just one type. Suddenly, the vibe shifts as terrifying roars echo through the forest, sending the birds into a total panic. Big Black catches a scent, and it's definitely not a friendly one. Our girl is shaking in her boots, asking if he's found the fox or if they're about to become lunch. The little guy is acting all tough, claiming he can settle anything now that he's on the trail. But the heroine isn't buying the bravado. She just wants to get out of this creepy place before a demon beast finds them. She's got a bad feeling about this, and honestly, can you blame her? The ground starts vibrating so hard it's practically an earthquake. Big Black loses his cool, sensing a massive threat he calls the damn gorilla. Apparently, these two have a 500-year-old grudge, and today is the day they settle the score. Our girl realizes she's caught in the crossfire of a high-level beast showdown. The dust settles, and out comes a literal nightmare-fuel gorilla that looks ready to smash everything in sight. She knows she's cooked if she stays, because her current level is basically 0 compared to this beast. She snatches up her tiny companion and demands to know the fastest exit strategy. The cat is still trying to catch hands, forgetting he's currently the size of a plushie. She has to remind him that he's way too small to be picking fights with King Kong's angry cousin. He finally realizes he's shrunk and is in no shape to scrap. As they start sprinting for their lives, her lungs are burning and she's completely out of juice. She begs Big Black to transform and carry her, but the shadow of a massive hand is already closing in. Our heroine is curious if she can finally use that storage ring now that her powers are kicking in. She thinks it's the perfect spot to stash her sidekick to stay low-key. But the fox drops a bombshell. That ring is for inanimate objects only. If she puts anything living in there, it'll come out as a corpse, which is a total mood killer. Poor Dahe looks like he just saw his life flash before his eyes. Our girl is stunned, realizing she almost accidentally deleted her friend. Luckily, he pulls out a special Kayankun bag designed specifically for the living. It's basically a portable pocket dimension for demons, plants, or even her own self. She loves the idea of having a personal panic room, but he warns her she's way too weak to pull that off yet. Our poor bunny is totally lost in the sauce when he mentions the Lingwang level. He starts a whole lecture on the cultivation hierarchy, starting from the bottom-tier refining spirit. There's a whole mountain of levels to climb before she can even dream of being a Ling god. Reality hits her like a truck, and she's already feeling the exhaustion. At this rate, she'll be a grandma before she hits the big leagues. Trying to change the subject, she nervously admits she's feeling a bit crusty after days without a bath. He gives her a look that says he's got the perfect solution ready to go. She laughs it off, thinking they're just having a nice chat. But this fox is savage and gives her a sudden, ruthless shove toward the lake. Down she goes into the water with a massive splash. She emerges looking like a drowned rat and feeling totally betrayed by her companion. Before she can even start her rant, she hears the sound of clothes hitting the floor. She demands to know what on earth he's thinking right now. But as she turns around, her anger evaporates into pure, unadulterated shock. Because the fox isn't just joining her, he's putting those absolute units of abs on full display. Our heroine's face turns into a little tomato as she realizes this bath time just got way more intense than she bargained for. Our girl is totally lost, wondering why a simple cultivation lesson suddenly turned into a full-blown battlefield. To make matters worse, an apple drops out of nowhere and lands a direct hit on an unsuspecting target. The blonde guy is absolutely fuming, demanding to know who dared to disturb his peace. He's got zero chill and looks ready to slash first and ask questions later. Meanwhile, the foxman is just chilling in the background, telling our poor heroine it's time to show off the results of her training. But before she can even process that, a sudden swish sends her world spinning. She ends up eating dirt in the most ungraceful way possible, face-planting right in front of her attacker. The blonde swordsman is convinced she's a thief here to steal his precious star fragment grass. Our girl tries to play it cool, sweating bullets while claiming she's just a lost traveler passing through. She even tries to flex that she's got a whole basket of her own grass, so why would she want his? But he's not buying the act for a second and decides it's time for her to drop dead. She's forced to play a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek just to keep her head on her shoulders. Suddenly, the chaotic scene shifts to a serene, misty forest that looks like a literal dream. Our heroine slowly blinks her eyes open, feeling totally disoriented as the fog clears. She realizes she's right back at the hot springs near the cave. How on earth did she end up back in this familiar spot after that crazy fight? She checks herself over, sensing something is very different about her body. Miraculously, every single one of her battle wounds has completely vanished into thin air. That's when a familiar, silky voice calls out to her, and she sees the fox man standing there looking as majestic as ever. She can't help but shout out in surprise at the sight of her silver-haired savior. Seeing him, there brings a massive, relieved smile to her face despite the chaotic day she's had. Relaxing in the healing waters, she finally gets a brief moment of peace. But you know our girl, her mind is already racing with a million questions about how she got here and what this fox is really up to. The announcement echoes through the Nandu Academy gates. Everyone who survived the Beast Forest trial is officially in. But don't get too comfortable, because a month of intensive training is next to decide who's inner or outer sect material. The elder asks if there are any objections, and the crowd roars a unanimous no. With the formalities over, it's time for these exhausted disciples to finally get some rest. As they head toward their quarters, our girl is feeling the weight of the new environment. She clings to her fox-eared companion, begging him not to leave her behind in this den of experts. He just gives her that heart-melting smile, reminding her that she's already cultivated spiritual power, so what is there to fear? But our poor heroine is still a bundle of nerves, worried about all the high-level masters lurking around. He tells her to just stay glued to his side, and she happily agrees, feeling a whole lot safer already. After a long trek, they finally reach their room, and our girl collapses onto the bed like a sack of potatoes. While she's just happy to have a mattress, the fox is already turning up his nose, calling the place Poor Academy because of the mess. Our girl decides it's the perfect time to test out her new purification spell. In an instant, the room is sparkling clean, leaving them both much more comfortable. Suddenly, a local bully is shook to his core, wondering how they can still use spiritual power under a prohibition. The fox just scoffs, calling the prohibition puerile sorcery that isn't even worth a second thought. He stares the guy down, asking him to repeat whatever nonsense he was spewing earlier. Our girl isn't letting him off easy either, quoting his demand to hand over the food nicely. The bully immediately starts sweating bullets, claiming they didn't say a word. The fox's gaze is ice cold as he looms over the coward. The guy tries to play it off as a simple misunderstanding, waving his hands in a panic. But our girl isn't buying the innocent passerby act for 1 second. She decides to give him a little souvenir and steps right on his hand with a satisfying crunch. He screams in agony, and our girl just puts on her best oopsie face, claiming she didn't even see him there. The bully cries out that she did it on purpose, and she just gives him a cold stare, admitting that, yeah, it was totally intentional. She reminds him that he was the one relying on numbers to bully her earlier, so this is just karma coming home to roost. After giving his hand one last squeeze, the fox tells the trash to beat it, warning them that they're welcome back only if they're tired of living. With the trash successfully taken care of, our girl happily suggests they finally get some sleep. He gives her a gentle look, and she swoons internally, realizing how great it feels to have a literal big shot as her personal bodyguard. Our girl is absolutely losing it because her fox is looking a little too dead for comfort. Everyone is wondering why they're still hanging around after training is long over. This senior disciple points out that the poor guy hasn't even twitched yet, and honestly, the vibes are rancid. The senior brother leans in to check the situation. He suggests the fox might just be playing dead because he couldn't handle some fancy incense, which is totally embarrassing. He even offers an antidote if she brings him back to his place, but our girl's internal alarm bells are screaming. Our heroine isn't buying it for a second, sensing a trap or a trick. She stares him down, wondering if this fox is just trying to ditch her again by using a cheap illusion. She politely declines the help and decides to lug his heavy butt back herself, while the others get stuck with literal kitchen duty. Our girl is struggling because this unconscious fox is way heavier than he looks. Suddenly, the fox is wide awake and our girl is blushing like a tomato, claiming she's just angry. But the mood shifts instantly when he tells her he has to leave the academy for a while. She's heartbroken that he's already bouncing after just getting back. She looks at him with those big, worried eyes, feeling the distance between them growing. He just gives her that signature mysterious smirk that makes her heart do backflips. Our poor heroine starts spiraling, thinking she's just too weak to be useful to him. But then he reaches out and hands her a beautiful treasure. It's a special jade pendant designed to protect her from spells that drain her power. He gently settles it on her, warning her to never take it off while she's training. He promises that when the timing is right, he'll tell her all his secrets, leaving her swooning and confused. With one last lingering look, he leaves her with more questions than answers. Deep in the forbidden forest, the terrifying roars of wild beasts echo through the mist. Our girl calls out to her companion Dehe, trying to keep her cool. She nervously asks which way leads to the low-level beasts so she can actually survive her training. The little guy leads the way, acting as her fluffiest bodyguard. Our heroine pumps herself up, confident that her spiritual power is finally high enough to win a fight. But Dehe warns her not to get too savage. He knows if she gets a single scratch, the terrifying Fox King will make sure Dehe doesn't live to see tomorrow. She gives him a sweet smile, promising she won't overexert her tiny rabbit heart. Suddenly, an ominous hissing sound cuts through the brush. Our girl freezes, her bunny ears twitching as she senses a predator nearby. Dehe spots the target and tells her this is the one. It's a pearl snake, and while it's low level, it looks absolutely massive to her. This thing is a total stalker that won't stop biting until its prey stops moving. The serpent looms over her, looking ready for a rabbit snack. It's go time, and our girl is determined to show what she's made of. The snake strikes with lightning speed. She immediately begins to channel her spiritual energy. Glowing green power swirls around her hands as she prepares her secret technique. She summons a flurry of vines, aiming to bind the beast in place. The magical strings wrap tightly around the serpent's body. The snake is trapped, but it's not giving up that easily. It thrashes wildly, trying to break free from the leafy cage. Suddenly, the vines start to give way, and our poor heroine realizes she's in big trouble. The snake lunges with its fangs bared, ready to finish her off. She barely manages to dodge the deadly strike as the beast snaps at the air. Desperate, she struggles to keep the monster at bay. The battle turns into a chaotic blur of scales and magic. She pours every ounce of power she has into the fight. Finally, the beast is subdued and the forest goes quiet for a moment. But the peace is shattered when she finds Dehe acting completely insane, biting into a giant pink bulb. He's totally lost it, yelling at her to get away from his treasure. He's acting like a man possessed, charging straight into a trap. Our girl screams for him to stop, realizing he's delivering himself to his own death. Just then, a mysterious ally leaps into the fray with a sword drawn. He slashes at the plant, trying to save the silly pup from its clutches. The explosion of energy sends our girl tumbling to the ground. She groans in pain, feeling the sting of the battle. Thankfully, the shock seems to trembling as she asks if he still remembers her. He calls her his little veggie rabbit, and she finally lets out a breath of relief, hugging him tight. She's just glad they both made it out of that mess in one piece. Our girl is just trying to enjoy a nice soak when her favorite fox suddenly appears, looking like he's ready to commit if she feels guilty for seeing him after her little escapades. If he ever sees her getting close to another man again, the tale is off limits forever. The atmosphere is heavy with a mix of threat and romance as he makes sure she understands the rules. The next morning, our girl wakes up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. She's surprised to find the fox is still right there, actually keeping his word for once. He promises to stay. Supposedly extinct demons crash the party. Things got dark fast, with talk of savage battles and horrific human experimentation. The visuals of the war are absolutely chaotic and terrifying. Our poor heroine is left shaken by how cruel the history of this world really is. Her heart breaks for the victims of such a ruthless past. Fast forward to Uncle Zhuang loading Yuan up with a mountain of medical books. She's trying to be a good student, but she's literally buried under this paper fortress. She waves a shaky goodbye, wondering if her arms are about to snap off. Just when she's about to collapse, her favorite fox steps in to carry the load. He effortlessly takes the books, telling her not to look so pathetic. Our girl is totally swooning, realizing Fox is actually a big softie. They walk off together in a rare moment of peace. But the cozy vibes don't last long as we jump ahead 1 month. We're at the newcomers training camp where the vibes are officially intense. The disciples are all lined up for the big exam. They look like they're trapped in some deep magical nightmare. Ruan is low-key panicking because this illusion formation looks insanely difficult. But Fox is just standing there looking smug, asking if her training was all for nothing. Our girl admits she wishes she was as strong and fearless as him. In a moment that would make any fangirl scream, Fox promises that if she gets lost in the nightmare, he'll dive in to find her. Ruan's mood immediately pulls a 180 as she beams at his sweet promise. But the fluff time is over because her name is officially called for the next round. Our girl is staring up at this absolute snack of a man, thinking he looks way too familiar to be a total stranger. But he's clearly offended, asking if his little bunny really managed to forget him that easily. Look at that face, he's genuinely hurt that she doesn't recognize his gorgeous mug. He leans in close, making her heart do backflips, but our poor heroine is so panicked she threatens to call for help. He's got the audacity to look annoyed while she's just trying to survive this chaotic encounter. He scoffs at her bunny courage for having the nerve to forget someone as unforgettable as him. Suddenly, everything starts to glow as he demands she wake up from this dream. The world begins to shatter as she finally snaps back to reality. She finally puts two and two together, he's the fox. Dazed and confused, she wonders if this whole situation is just another layer of an illusion. She's totally on guard, but honestly, who wouldn't be when a mystical fox man is breathing down your neck? He reminds her that time is running out and they need to move before the assessment ends. Reality hits her hard when she hears her mother's voice calling out to her. Seeing her mom standing there with a warm bowl of soup is a total gut punch. Our girl has to make the heart-wrenching choice to leave this perfect fake life behind for the sake of the test. It's the ultimate tragedy, leaving behind the warmth of a home she knows isn't real. She can't hold back the tears as she says her final goodbye to the woman who feels like her world. Even the cold fox man can't stay heartless, giving her a gentle pat on the head while she sobs. She wipes her eyes and steels her resolve. It's time to get out of here and face the real world. Back in the physical world, the disciple training officially comes to a close. Everyone is celebrating their new ranks, but you know drama is lurking just around the corner. Our girl is all smiles as she congratulates her friends on making it into the top factions. Of course, a wild mean girl appears, acting like talking to someone from the spirit healing faction is a crime. Our heroine is just confused, like, girl, we literally just got here, why are you so salty? This petty brat keeps running her mouth, acting like she's better than everyone else. She starts trash-talking the entire sect, but she doesn't realize who's standing right behind her. Our fox boy steps in with a savage look, asking if she wants to continue being a total nightmare. One look at him and she realizes she's messed with the wrong crowd. They scurry away like the cowards they are, but not without throwing one last insult. They decide they're too good to wait around, leaving our girl behind. They call her a loser, but honestly, they're just jealous of her main character energy. One of the guys can't help but notice how stunning our girl is, despite his friends being trash. He's literally drooling over her, which is honestly so relatable, but also super awkward. Foxboy is definitely not vibing with the extra attention his girl is getting. Then, the handsome brother Yingling walks up to greet our favorite bunny. He's super sweet, congratulating them on passing the grueling assessment. Our girl beams at him, thanking him for all the help he gave her along the way. He pulls out a special gift, a sound transmission bell so they can stay in touch. He tells her to shake it if she ever runs into trouble, and he'll come flying to her side. She excitedly shows off her new toy to the fox man, who is probably already plotting how to break it. She holds the bell tight, ready to take on whatever chaotic mess the sect throws at her next. Our girl is wide awake and thrilled to see her favorite fox finally show up. She's having a total crisis because the waterfall outside is way too loud for her to get any beauty sleep. But our fox is nothing if not a problem solver, claiming the solution is actually pretty simple. She looks at him with those big eyes, wondering if he's actually got a trick up his sleeve. With a casual flick of his wrist and a surge of magical power, he literally freezes the entire waterfall solid just so our girl can get some peace and quiet. Talk about an icy flex. She's absolutely swooning over his skills, but he reminds her they've got a massive shift in the kitchen tomorrow morning. He leads our sleepy heroine back to bed, and honestly, the domestic vibes are off the charts. He gives her that soft, melting look that proves he's totally whipped. Our poor girl is already drifting off to dreamland before her head even hits the pillow. Fox just stays there, watching her sleep like the ultimate protector. It's a rare moment of pure peace for our chaotic duo. He can't help but find her adorable, even if her sleeping habits are a bit weird. He gently brushes her face, looking like he'd fight the entire world for this little rabbit. Cut to the next morning, and the grind is real in the big kitchen. The pots are steaming and the work is endless. Our girl is sweating bullets, complaining that this academy is basically a sweatshop in disguise. Suddenly, some local jerk named Zai Yan starts acting up, but Fox isn't having it and threatens to cripple the guy's hands on the spot. Savage, the bully tries to play it cool while retreating, throwing out the classic "you'll regret this" line. He scurries off like a cornered rat, clearly terrified of our Fox's icy glare. Their friend Iron Bull comes charging in, completely oblivious to the drama that just went down. He notices the bad vibes and asks why telling her not to worry because he's always going to be there. And just like that, our girl's heart is doing backflips again. She's carefully working with the blade, trying her best not to mess up the precious fur. The fox stands right behind her, giving her pointers like the overprotective mentor he is. Suddenly, a knock at the door interrupts their cozy session, and he tells our girl to go wash up while he handles the delivery. She happily obliges, scrub-a-dubbing those hands to get ready for a meal. Once she's ready, she calls out for Big Black to come and get some grub. But the little troublemaker is nowhere to be found in the main room. She searches high and low, starting to get a bit worried. Our poor heroine even resorts to bribery, promising she won't shave his fur ever again if he just shows his face. She finally tracks his voice to the storage room, where he's managed to get himself stuck like a total amateur. She tries to push the door open, but it won't budge. It's not even locked, yet it feels like an immovable wall. Thankfully, the fox returns just in time to see her struggling. She quickly explains that Big Black wandered in and can't get out and she needs to rescue him. The fox eyes the door, realizing this might be the perfect opportunity to show off his skills. He channels his energy, his hand glowing with a mysterious, shimmering light. With a flick of magic, he effortlessly clears the path. Our girl finally rescues the little beast, holding him close while the fox just stands there, probably waiting for a standing ovation. He looks at her, wondering why she's giving him such a strange reaction. He glances at the rabbit and the cat, feeling like a bit of a third wheel in his own. Our heroine watches his back, feeling a bit lonely already. She hesitates for a second, coughing nervously to get his attention. Then she finally summons the courage to tell him to come back early once he's done with his business. He gives her a soft look and agrees before vanishing. He's gone just like that, leaving her in the quiet room. Fast forward 3 days later, and our girl is back to her grind, focusing hard on her work. Her peace is interrupted when Iron Bull shows up with a fresh delivery. She's surprised to see her uncle doing the food run today instead of the usual crew. He explains that something happened at the academy, and he's here to deliver the food and some urgent news. This total creep Ziyan is actually touching our girl's hair like he owns the place, and her skin is absolutely crawling. He has the audacity to say she's nice while looking like a literal predator. Our heroine isn't having it, telling him he's dreaming way too big if he thinks he stands a chance. But he just smirks, clearly enjoying the chase and her resistance. He claims he likes her fiery spirit, while our girl warns him to back off before things get ugly. He immediately pulls out a glowing sword, proving he's not just a talker. He swings it with terrifying speed, mocking her pathetic attempts to resist. Our poor heroine realizes she's in deep trouble because this guy is a second-stage spiritual master. The power gap is insane, and she knows a head-on fight is basically a death sentence. He pins her down, the cold steel of the blade right against her throat. But just as he thinks he's won, he sees a look in her eyes he didn't expect. Our savage queen delivers a legendary kick right to his precious jewels, shattering his pride and his soul in one go. She takes the chance to bolt, running as fast as her rabbit legs can carry her. Suddenly, her legs give out and she's paralyzed with fear as he looms over her again. Everything goes dark until she finally blinks her eyes open under the starry night sky. She wakes up to find our handsome fox man watching over her bedside. He looks genuinely worried, asking if she's still in any pain after that ordeal. She quietly admits she's feeling better now that he's finally here. She wonders if her immortality helped her heal so fast, but Fox wants to know exactly what happened with that creep at the cliff. He coldly explains that he already took out the trash by enacting a little divine retribution. Our girl is still shaken, unable to even voice the disgusting things that Ziyan tried to do to her. She tries to deflect the heavy mood, claiming she needs to get up and go hit the books. She makes up a frantic excuse about the Academy's grand competition to hide her trauma. Suddenly, a magical ding echoes through the room as a mysterious glow surrounds her body. She freezes in shock, staring at Fox as she realizes something major is happening to her cultivation. As the sun rises over the horizon, our heroine rubs the sleep from her eyes, looking every bit the adorable bunny girl she is. But there's no time for a slow morning because the silver-haired fox is already looming over her. He's straight to the point, demanding to know where she's hidden that demon wolf. Our girl explains that Big Black is currently tucked away in her spatial bag, and the fox tells her to quit stalling and let him out. He settles in with a cup of tea, looking far too elegant for someone about to deal with a chaotic spirit. Our heroine braces herself and opens the seal. Out pops the terrifying demon wolf, who turns out to be a tiny, grumpy furball complaining about his interrupted nap. The fox and the bunny girl can only stare in deadpan silence at the supposed menace. Later, while a local friend warns her to keep a low profile during the current storm, our girl spots her fox companion waiting by the door. He's actually acting like a worried house husband, admitting he was stressed because she was gone for so long. To soothe his icy heart, she presents a fresh bowl of tonic she spent all morning brewing. He gives it a sniff, finally cracking a tiny smile that makes all her hard work worth it. But the peace is shattered when Uncle Zhuang arrives with a stranger in tow. He introduces the newcomer as Envoy Q, a high-ranking official from the prestigious Qiang Academy. Our heroine greets him politely, but the envoy's eyes immediately lock onto the fox guy with intense suspicion. He notes that this brother looks incredibly familiar, so our girl quickly lies through her teeth, introducing him as her simple brother, Zhuan Daniu. Sensing the envoy is seconds away from sniffing out the truth, she decides to make a tactical retreat before their cover is blown sky-high. Messenger Q is absolutely losing it, screaming about who started the fire. But our fox guy isn't buying his dramatic act for a second. Suddenly, Q's disciple rushes onto the scene, worried sick about his master. He glares at the group, demanding answers as the sun begins to rise. Q tries to play it cool with a nervous laugh, insisting he's totally fine. But the disciple is ready to throw hands, pointing the finger straight at our fox prince for the attack. The fox guy just gives him a cold stare, asking why Q was lurking around the spirit tree in the dead of night. Q stammers that he was just taking a casual midnight stroll. Oh, really? Then why was he crouching in the bushes like a total creep? The fox prince goes for the jugular, accusing him of trying to steal from the great spirit tree. The disciple is offended on his master's behalf, claiming Q would never do such a thing. He squares up, ready to fight for his master's honor. But the fox guy shuts that down instantly with a flick of his power. Later, at the spirit healing faction's quarters, our girl decides to pay a little visit. She knocks on the door, hoping to smooth things over with a special gift. She waits nervously as the morning light filters through the trees. She's got a plan. She's going to use her research to help Q's unfortunate bald spot. Q opens the door looking like he hasn't slept a wink and is in no mood for visitors. But our girl drops a bombshell. She knows how to make his hair grow back. She presents a tiny bottle, her secret weapon for this chaotic situation. Q looks at her like she's lost her mind. She explains it's a hair growth potion that works instantly. Q scoffs, calling it ridiculous because potions haven't existed for centuries. He gives her a history lesson on how the spirit healing faction was wiped out, taking their secrets with them. Our heroine isn't backing down though and dares him to just try it. Sensing a chance to humiliate her, he agrees to see what trickery she's up to. He holds out his hand, ready to prove her wrong. A few drops of the liquid fall onto his palm. He inspects the potion skeptically, still convinced it's a scam. He rubs the liquid onto his bald patch with a smug look. But then the impossible happens. Tiny hairs actually start sprouting right before his eyes. Q's jaw hits the floor as his luxurious locks return in seconds. He goes feral, grabbing our girl and demanding to know where this legendary treasure came from. Thankfully, the fox prince steps in, telling Q to get a grip and act with some dignity. He smoothly lies through his teeth, claiming they just found it in some old junk room. Our girl hides behind him, letting her fox protector handle the interrogation. He gives her a look that says, "Just follow my lead." He whispers a warning to her, knowing that this potion is a massive target. Q is left speechless, clutching his new hair in total disbelief. As they walk away, the fox prince reminds her that potions are rarer than gold. He tells her to keep her mouth shut and never mention this to anyone else but him. Tiny bursts into the room, her heart sinking the moment she sees Uncle Zhuang looking so pale. She's devastated that he tried to hide the fact that he was poisoned, demanding to know why he'd keep her in the dark. He tries to play it off as a minor setback that just needs some rest, but our girl isn't taking fine for an answer. She immediately checks his pulse, her expression turning to pure horror as she realizes his spiritual energy is completely congested. This is no accident, it's a clear symptom of deep, lethal poisoning. She demands the truth, wanting to know exactly who dared to lay a finger on him. The betrayal stings, and she's not about to let this slide. Uncle Zhuang tries to claim it's not important anymore, but Tiny clenches her fists, her blood boiling at his resignation. If they don't find the culprit, they'll never find the antidote, and she refuses to lose him. Suddenly, a massive shouting match erupts outside, and Tiny decides it's time to handle the trash herself while her uncle rests. Outside, a mysterious fox-eared man is acting as a stone wall, refusing to let any intruders pass. But this purple-haired guy is absolutely unhinged, demanding entry and refusing to take no for an answer. He's ready to throw hands and force his way in, but he has no idea what kind of savage storm is about to walk through that door to meet him.